am your host. I am Jessica Koch, and this is, yes, you guessed it, you know it. It is Profound Professionals. It is an interview series that has been running for 8 years now. We feature industry experts from all over the world, and they help improve your personal life or grow your business. Today, we have Georgina. She's a certified professional coach and hypnotherapist. She helps all of you overwhelmed folks out there and executives step into your peak performance, your top self, your amazingness and well-being, and you don't have to swap one for the other. You can have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. So welcome, Georgina.
Hi, thanks for having me. And I don't think I've ever been introduced so well.
Well, thank you. I do have fun with it because
You're hired.
if it's not fun, why not? So I love what you do. I love people who combine coaching and different modalities and different holistic things to help us be the well-rounded best version of us. This is why we feature people who help improve people's personal life or grow their business, because I often believe when you grow your business, you suddenly have time and resources and money so that you can improve your personal life or your well-being, and vice versa. Sometimes when you improve yourself and your well-being, suddenly your business starts to boom and grow. Either can happen in each direction, seen it both ways. So I love that you're stepping in and helping these executives. But how did this become your journey and your story?
I think it's become my journey, my story from the age of 16. Really, I've been on this inevitable path all the way through. So 16
Cool.
years old, I thought I'd give meditation a go. And
Mm-hmm.
that has been my bedrock for the last 34 years of my life. And it's been a
Mm-hmm.
journey of exploration and self-discovery. So I've always had a bit of a hyperachiever side. I've always needed to go out and prove myself in business, and at the same time not want to get sucked into that exhausting cycle of having to prove myself to have outer success and inner peace, that balance of being able to set outrageous goals, meet them, and at the same time feel like it's an amazing journey of self-growth and self-expansion. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, to me, it's always been about having the best of both worlds, or the cake and eating it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had, like you, a very similar background. My experience was in sales, business development within marketing agencies and advertising agencies for a long, long time. And then about 5 years ago, I literally had a moment where it was like stepping out of my own body, going, what am I doing? I'm not serving anyone. I'm helping loyalty platforms, establish themselves across Asia. But how am I helping connect humans? There was that level of disconnect that I really felt I needed to sort of go in and address as a coach. So within a week, I signed up as a coaching student. I did my whole year studying, and then COVID hit. And just as it hit, I decided I was going to pull the plaster off and I was going to coach full time. So I said to
Mm-hmm.
my company, I don't want to be selling. I want to be coaching. And bless them, they
Mm-hmm.
took me on. They were one of my first clients. So I ended up coaching the
Oh.
teams, and yeah, stepping back, working 50% of the time, and
Mm-hmm.
coaching the rest. And before the year was out, I was coaching full time. I mean, there was no
Mm-hmm.
step back. Yeah.
That's
So,
lovely. That's lovely. And
yeah.
so tell us some of where the headspace is of your ideal client as they come to you.
Well, my ideal client, a lot of the clients come to me, my ideal client, because my website is very specific about my
Mm,
niche. The people that I attract are self-aware, ambitious people who
mhm,
want to be the best that they can be at life, at work, as parents,
mhm,
right? They have that drive, but they've also got that desire to have a life beyond the borders of the desk, right?
mhm,
They want to be able to switch off when they're with their family, and they want to be
mhm.
focused when they're at work, but there's a bleed, right? They're finding it hard to be with their family and not think about work, and vice versa. So really one of the things that they're looking for is the ability to still their mind and to get focused,
Mhm,
and that to me is the basis of both peak performance and well-being. It's the ability to
mhm.
be present in the moment. So that's step one.
Well, I giggle, and Georgina probably knows why. It's because she witnessed me juggling in midair as we prepped for our show today. as the door was knocking and the phone was situating and my brain was adjusting to the two worlds that I live in also. So even when you run your own company, this can be a thing. And I have a great team, so they take most of that off me. I just came back from several days away at the ocean with my family, where really I did not have to check in very much. I mean, I did just for my own peace of mind, but saw that everything was handled and running well. So, you know, I feel very lucky that way that I get that time and I get that peace of mind. What you do is really truly important because I think not everyone knows how to do that. Now, are you working directly with corporations and then they're hiring you to work with their teams, or are executives coming and just hiring you independently of their company, or a little of both? How is that working for you?
It's a little bit of both. Most of my clients historically come to me directly. So they're big leaders in organizations, but they end up
Mhm,
paying me directly out of their own pocket, or
mhm,
sometimes the company subsidizes it. But
mhm,
increasingly this year, I've found that I'm being hired to go in and do workshops, to do training, leadership
mhm,
development, and so forth. Although over the years, I've done a lot of sort of ongoing workshops or
mhm,
meditation retreats and stuff for clients. But it
mhm,
seems like that part of my business is growing, which is funny because my business has always been working with teams. It's always been facilitating group meetings and stuff. So you would have
mhm,
thought that would have been my default, but I naturally just fell into the one-to-one and the groups of my own clients that work together. And that's
mhm.
just been working really well for me. I love it all. Bring it on, whatever.
So are you working in person or virtually? And is it, so group as well as individual, but the virtual space? I mean, I imagine some of it's virtual and maybe it sounds like some of it might even be in person.
Yeah, the majority of it's actually virtual.
Mm,
So this time 4 years ago, I was living in Singapore. Most of my
mm,
clients were in Asia. And thanks
mhm,
to COVID, everybody was suddenly on Zoom. So I could
mm,
work. And Singapore is a regional hub. So I was working with
mhm,
people all over the place. I was working in Australia, Mexico, Europe, UK.
mhm,
And so when we moved back to the UK 3 years ago, I kept all my clients. I just brought them all back. And now I'm working with a lot more people based here. I have one client who lives in a town 20 minutes away, but we still do it virtually, although I
mhm,
have met him quite a few times face to face. The majority of my clients are face to face, are virtual. Having said
mm.
that, some of the corporate stuff is face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still a little bit of a mix, a little bit of mix. Now, before we move on to a tip, is there anything else going on in the company or the business that you want to share? And then we'll talk about a tip for everybody.
Is there anything I want to share about the business? Not really. This has been a funny year for me, Jessica. I've found
Mhm,
that I have surrendered a little bit to sort of trying to build it and grasping and, working hard. And it's just been a really great year of just flow and abundance. The more I've just sort of surrendered, the more it's flowed towards
mhm.
me. It's great. But then
Yeah.
maybe it's like you do all of the hard work and setting it up.
Mhm.
You've
Prime the
got
pump.
your strategy exactly, and then you can sit back and go, "Okay, that sounds good." But I have a feeling that now I'm ready for another acceleration. I think
Mhm.
it's time. It's felt like I've had a year of coasting, which has been great, but I don't wanna get too complacent.
I felt like over the years as my company has grown and changed, we're constantly readjusting and to something new that just shows up. And
Mm,
so it's been fascinating to take our service from here to then almost like the gears in a clock, where we're clicking into the next cog, and it's very easy and comfortable, and it feels very much like we're meant to make that next click, so that's been very exciting for me.
that's a great
um,
metaphor.
yeah, where it's not a painful, scary, or because it's breaking down, but it's because, the gears have shifted, and so you're supposed to go into that next joint of the cog, right?
Mm,
So and it fits and it feels good and it feels like we're moving to where we should be, and I like that a lot. So,
yeah.
and I stay focused on making sure I'm doing lots of things for myself to to kayak, to vacation, to be with family, to move meetings when unexpected family things happen. And, and I'm grateful that I've attracted, podcast guests as well as clients and other people in our community and collaboration partners, either that are also as focused as me on family. And so when I honestly say, hey, this is what's happening, we just got the soccer schedule and I don't miss a game as a rule. And so I really need to ask you for your grace to readjust and reschedule with me. And people have, and they do. And it's very rare that they're uncomfortable or unkind about it. And I think when they are, it shows to me a clear sign that they're not really my community members. They're not my people because I just I extend that grace to anyone else as well if they need to reschedule for whatever reason. I just feel like life's too short to not be easygoing and roll with a little bit. So,
And you're role modeling really healthy behavior, because why are we working in the first place? Are we
yeah,
working just to get money? Well, why are you getting money? Is
yeah,
it so that you can spend time with your family and have these
yeah,
experiences? Well, let's
yeah,
start doing that now. It's
yeah.
not at some indefinite point in
No,
the future. Remember it, live it.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a guest on here recently who shared with us that he was diagnosed with a brain tumor and he suddenly realized that he needed to do all that great traveling he wanted to do with his wife now and not after they retired, because he had a good hopeful prognosis of health and healing and to be around for a very long time. But he said it made him realize that you know you need to do the things now, and not work really hard and try to have all the fun later. So,
That's the thing. Happiness only ever exists in the now, right?
mhm,
We all kind of think, I'll be happy when, or I
mhm,
can be joyful when, and there's
mhm,
always a future scenario.
mhm,
But what a waste, because you're living that future scenario that you envisaged at some point now. And are you
mhm.
happy? So yeah.
Yeah, very true, very true. So, tell us a tip. Give us a good
Okay.
tip.
Okay. So have you heard about positive intelligence at all and mental fitness?
Yes.
Okay. And I might show you a tip with regard to that, but it
Okay.
probably won't be presented in a way that you've done before, because this
Okay.
is, I guess, a way that I've made my own. But mental fitness is your ability to handle whatever life throws at you without the stress, okay, with
Mhm,
a positive, resourceful mindset. And
mhm,
so the tip that I want to share with anybody who's watching or listening is the ability to still your mind in just a couple of
mhm.
seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
can I demonstrate it with you now,
Yes,
Jessica?
sure.
Okay. So people are watching this, right? It's not just audio.
Mhm.
Okay. So what I want to do is I want you to look at my two hands. All right. Focus especially on this one. You
Okay.
ready? You focused? Okay.
Mhm.
Watch. Go. That's it. That's it. Stop. Now, what was the quality of your mind just then?
Good, I think. I think focused on your hand.
Right?
And actually, I was expecting something startling to happen. Like I thought you might clap or something, so to throw me off. So I was bracing myself for what
Oh,
might happen.
I should have warned you. No jump. But you were focused and you were present,
Yeah.
right? Was there any chatter going on in your head? Any sort of, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Or I
No,
need to do this. It was quiet,
no.
right?
Mhm.
So how did that feel as we did that and you were focused?
I felt good. I felt, like I was there following your hand.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
it feel calm,
Yeah, sure.
peaceful?
Mhm.
Okay. So how long did that take us?
Just seconds.
Seconds, right? So what we
Mm.
just did was we stilled your mind.
Hmm.
And we got you situated very deeply in the now. And it took seconds. Now imagine being able to do that at will, anytime in any place. So the way that this works is our mind inhabits one of three places at any given time. Often it's in the future. It's looking at all the have-tos, must-dos, what-ifs, right? None
Mm-hmm.
of these have happened. It's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
We can drop that. The other place our brain tends to inhabit is the past. It's rehashing memories and then memories of memories of memories. And we're sort of rebuilding it in a way that suits us favorably. That's
Mm-hmm.
fiction. It's gone. So anxiety is future facing. Re- Regret is past facing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those, fiction. Whereas what you experienced just then was your mind inhabiting your body, existing in the now. And when we
Mm-hmm.
do that, it's clear, it's calm, it's focused. And we
Lovely.
use our body as a vehicle to switch off our overthinking mind, which is
Yeah.
why breath is such a primordial way of just switching off your overthinking mind and getting into your body. But what we did there was we used one of our senses, sight. You can
Mm-hmm.
also do sound, right? What can I
Mm-hmm.
hear in the far distance? What can I hear in the near distance? Now, as hypnotherapists, we talk about people having certain modalities, right? You tend to be a kinesthetic person, somebody who tends to have big feelings and to be able to experience things on a more tactile level. Other people are visual. If you're visual, this would be a good one for you that we just did. If you're more
Mm-hmm.
auditory, it could be okay. What can I hear? Can I hear my own breath? But there's other senses, taste, um, smell, so
Mm-hmm.
even taking moments of your day that you take for granted, like going and having a cup of coffee, what if you could take just 10 seconds and notice the steam coming off your coffee and really smell it and just taste it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if every single time you went to the bathroom and you washed your hands and you felt the water on your hands? All of these are moments throughout the day where you get embodied and you switch off your overthinking mind. And every single time you do that, it's literally like a rewiring of your brain to get it out of your own head, stop the fiction, and to land in the reality and to go, oh, okay, here I am. And when you start getting back into the reality, getting back into your body, it's like a reboot, it's like a refresh. You can start to think, okay, how am I responding to this? Or what a beautiful day, or aren't I lucky to be alive? Look at this opportunity. It's like, when you're working so hard and your brain just sees red and you go to the toilet or you go make a drink or you go to get your bus, that's when the ideas flow, right? It's when you've taken a step back, there's a pattern interrupt,
Mm-hmm.
gives you the spaciousness to be more resourceful, to be more creative. So what I've shared is a tip that you can apply anytime throughout the day. It will rewire your brain. Take moments to just get into your body. This is a great one, rubbing your thumb and your finger together. I'm quite a
Mm-hmm.
kinesthetic person. And if you do
Mm-hmm.
so and you try and really, if you give it this go, Jessica, to feel your fingertip ridges one against the other
Mm-hmm.
with exquisite attention to detail, doesn't it feel calm?
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine being able to go in between your meetings, the various transitions that you've got from mother to grandmother to business person. I saw you really powerfully just before this take one deep breath. You were in the moment, like proper
Mm-hmm.
master. Yeah. I'm saying imagine it. I can see you doing it, but this expands to everybody who's watching to just take a moment to really center yourself,
Yeah.
getting
It's
into the
part of
body.
why I stand instead of sit. I have a standing desk, and actually I have a walking pad too. So sometimes I walk, but and that rhythm is very therapeutic for me. The walking, it's a very slow pace, but I'm able to. But I feel like I'm more present when I'm standing for some reason than when I'm sitting. I don't know
Mm.
if that makes any sense or not, but
It's
I
more
feel
grounding.
I was gonna say I feel more grounded, even though I know I'm on the carpet and I'm not outside in the on the earth and with my feet flat in the grass. But I feel yeah I feel more anchored when I'm standing. So
Makes perfect sense.
yeah, I feel like I perform better um, at the tasks that I'm focusing on when I'm standing. So it's something I've
Perfect.
taken up over the last couple of years, but I've done the meditating and praying for probably since I was a small child, actually, just to survive when I was young, and then in order to thrive as I've grown. So, uh, yeah. Well, that's awesome. Now, I know you guys are out there getting your fingers ready and warm. You're thinking, wait, we need to talk about the cause she cares about. That's right. We want to hear about causes you care about out there too. So get a typing, put those in the comments, and we just might inspire someone today in our interview to give time, treasure, or talent to a cause they love, to one you suggest in the comments, or maybe even one that Georgina shares with us today. So, what's a cause that you care about?
I have quite a few. My top two are probably homelessness and I'm a big believer in Médecins Sans Frontières. I think it's called Doctors Without Borders here.
Yeah.
And to me, they embody two core values. One is bravery. I mean, imagine putting
Mhm.
yourself out there in some of those
Mhm.
war zones, right? And the other
Mhm.
one is bipartisanism, if that's a word. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter which side you fight for. I'm seeing the other person as a human being, front and
Mhm.
foremost. Everything else is
Mhm.
is just subjective, right? So
Yeah.
I really have a humongous amount of respect for anybody who does similar stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like at the basic core of life and existence, that we all should have the right to, shelter and good health and food and, love, so kind of the ultimate basics are not to be lonely, not to be without a roof over our head, food in our belly, and a way to be the healthiest version of ourselves, because without health there everything else falls away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even the roof over your head doesn't seem very important if you're not well,
Yeah.
So, um, I think that that's a very great cause to share. And I know there's lots of people who make many sacrifices of full years and more of their lives, and they do this cycle of sabbatical, so to speak, where they get out there and actually do even more real work than they do when they're at home. so
Mm.
uh, so beautiful, beautiful sacrifice for them to make for other human beings. I was just talking about to another guest that'll be a future guest coming up in the next few episodes, and we were just talking about the fact that my viewpoint is that we're all human beings and earthlings, um, and above and beyond that, we just we all want some of the same things. We want to feel safe, loved, and important. We want our families and our children to do better and have more than we did, and just looking for joy, love, and acceptance, and in our little community or in our little club of who's surrounding us. And I think that's much for almost anyone.
Yeah.
So,
Focus
so
on the commonalities, not the differences.
exactly, exactly. I love that. Well, books are a thing in my world. I'm nuts about them. And I'm
I
very
love books. Yeah. I've always got one in my bag wherever I go.
everywhere I go, and I've been reading some very interesting books lately. I'm very inspired by, but I always like to ask my guests what book inspired their personal life or helped them grow their business. You have a book you want to share?
Yeah, this one really helped me grow my coaching business. It's called The Prosperous Coach, and it's by Steve Chandler and Rich
Yeah.
Litvin. And this I find would be an amazing help for anyone who's a counselor, a therapist. This,
Hmm.
especially, so my background was in sales and marketing. I could go and I could sell ice to Eskimos. It really would not be an issue. But try and launch your own business and you're selling your own products. And there's all
Mhm.
sorts of imposter syndromes and belief systems that you're
Headspace.
confronted with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this book is really about you getting out your own way. It
Mhm.
says you don't need to have all of the bells and whistles. You need to get out there and be the best bloody coach you can be. Am I allowed to say
Mhm.
that word? Best you can be. You know, just coach your backside off, which is what I did for the first year. I coached everyone and everything. I certified as a professional certified coach within a year, which is pretty much unheard of after getting my
Mhm.
basic qualification. And it was really about part of it was my own self perception. But
Mhm.
even I used to go walk my dog. I used to listen to it on my audio, and I would
Mhm.
come back, and I was so pumped that I would just pick up the phone and I would call people. And it wasn't about selling. I think I had this image of selling that I
Mhm.
didn't want to get sucked into or be seen as selling, which is ironic
Mhm.
because it's been my career and it's something that I've always been natural with because I've always believed it's a conversation. And so I
Mhm.
would get on the phone and I would just have one conversation at a time. And that's really about all it is. It's about the ability that whoever is in front of you right now, you can change their life. And how can you
Mhm.
show up most fully for that? And it
Yeah.
pushes you to really push past your own boundaries, get on the call, make those connections, start serving.
Mhm.
So it's a great book. Another quote that wasn't from that, but it's very sort of parallel, is that your net worth is your self-worth. That, if you're somebody in the coaching business or the counseling or the
Mhm.
therapy business, is so important because there are
Mhm.
so many people out there who have so much to give and they underprice themselves. They don't
Mhm.
market themselves properly. Their own belief systems are getting in their way, and that
Mhm.
stops them shining the light. And so this is a really good book for that. It's highly motivating, highly empowering. Everybody who is out there should have the Prosperous Coach.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you. Now, we also often ask if our guests are authors, and you're an author, but of something a bit different than a book. You have a poem to share?
I I I write posts. I'm actually published on a few things, but I used to work at the United Nations as an intern, so I'm published on things like dried mushrooms, right? Market reports and all sorts of abstract things. I've also published a few things for advertising agencies, so reports on. We used to do this ethnographic research and stuff, but nothing in the line of coaching. But what I've done is I write poems whenever the mood takes me, not very often. So I thought I would share a poem because you wanted me to share something that was a bit of inspiration.
Yes.
So I call it Ode to the Human Race. And the idea being it's a play on the word race, because
Mm-hmm.
often it's about franticness of just achieving. And we're in a
Mm-hmm.
world of activity. So Ode to the Human Race. Here we go. Do you ever feel life just rushed by and you can't keep up the pace? It's a constant swirl of activity. That's just the human race. The finish line is arbitrary, the rules are self imparted, and even if you win the race, you forget just why you started. Take a moment to just slow down. Take a breath for orientation. If you enjoy the people and the path, then you've reached your destination. It's easy, though, to just forget. It's human to go astray. Know that activity for activity's sake will never be the way. So keep checking your inner compass and refine the path that's true. When you take the time to just be still, that's where you will find you.
I think that's beautiful. And I think it's very, very true. And then it brought me to the moment when we were on vacation recently, and we literally stopped to smell the roses. There were beautiful rose bush, and it was one of the most fragrant I have ever smelled. And I made my daughter and my husband come take take 10 or 15 steps back to me because I was still at the bush, and put their noses into the rose because it was just amazing. And I think that that's the message, that we just need to, hang on to each other now. I was thinking about some goals and things too that I have, and I didn't like finish line. What I liked was that my next kind of goal marker, because I feel like they're just markers along the way. And, like you said, the journey is the destination. But I do like to have a next to reach to strive. I'm one of those ambitious and driven. And so I do like having the excitement of hitting a marker, but remembering to enjoy the steps that it took to get there as I
Yeah.
go, and the people that are around me. So
I think
that's
you raise an important point there. It's not as if you shouldn't have goals. I think goals are really important. I need
mm,
goals as well. But
mhm,
they're less about, as you say, the final destination. They're like markers along the route.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I lived in Germany for a bit, and we did Volksmarching, and essentially it's a very glamorous European form of hiking. And you went to all these beautiful places, and many of them carried walking sticks. And that's what happened as they went through paths and different stopping points for for refreshment, they would receive a marker, a little like shield to tack to their wooden walking stick. The journey wasn't over. It was simply a marker to show the path and the accomplishments and the sights and the celebrations and the joyful things they were able to see. And it tagged along on their walking stick to take them the rest of the way. So
That's beautiful.
yes, well, this has been an amazing show. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Jessica.
I hope you've also had fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. And if you're out there thinking, wait, I'm an industry expert, I could help someone's personal life or help them grow their business, well, then this just might be the show for you. Reach out to us and our team, and we'll let you know how to get on the show. And until next time, I'm your host, Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. Be kind to yourself out there and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.